Hey everyone, it's Sonia. I'm coming to you from the living room. It's actually what it's called, the Living Room Trail here in Utah, just outside of Salt Lake City. I'll give you a little panoramic view of the beautiful mountains overlooking Salt Lake. I'm looking out there, pretty amazing, right? And there's nothing quite like being on a peak and out in nature and feeling the sun on your face and the wind blowing to make you feel like a thriver. And last week I presented at a wellness conference about the thriver mindset and how to get there. And so I thought maybe I would share just a little bit of that with you today. So there's kind of four basic mindsets. One is a victim mindset. We've all been there at some point or another. It's kind of a powerless place. They consider it a powerless taker. You look after yourself, and you're very motivated by fear. And then there's a bystander. And the bystander is also powerless, but more powerless giver. You want to do something, but you don't really think you have the power to do anything. Your voice doesn't matter. So you tend to be an observer, wanting to give something, but not really taking a lot of action. Then there's the controller, and you've probably known a few of those in your life. I think I've been that at times in my life, but sort of that control freak, you know? So you're powerful, but you're a powerful taker. You're sort of keeping all the resources, there's still a little fear base in there, and you don't believe in what other people can do. You have to do it yourself. It only works if you're in charge. And then, of course, is the thriver, which is the powerful giver. And it's beyond just you. You believe that there's more, and you're trying to unite, and you're trying to be a team player. Often great conscious leaders come from this place where you're engaging with everyone, and it's not all about you. And so ultimately that is probably the happiest and healthiest place to be. Now we can shift in between all of these at any given moment of time. It's not rock solid as you go through new things or out of your comfort zone, or if certain situations happen to you, you might fall into one of the other ones, and it's okay. The beauty is you have the power to change it. So what are some ways that you can change it? So one of the first things is to really notice your language, your internal language, because that's going to give you a good cue as to where you actually are. Is it, oh, woe is me, or I would do this but can't do anything, nobody listens to me, or are you blaming others, nobody can do it, I have to do it myself, or are you looking for solutions that kind of engages everybody? So look at what you're saying to yourself. What kind of words are you using? And how does that make you feel as well? Because typically the victim doesn't feel all that great. And so notice the emotions around that. And sometimes you can even have little conversations between the mindsets if you want. You could talk to your thriver mindset and ask it to give you a little bit of advice that can really actually be very helpful. Then also shifting your perception, particularly your perception around threat. And that goes for all of them, really. But if you perceive it as a challenge as opposed to a threat, you're going to feel very differently, and you're going to be more resourceful. You're going to find solutions, and it's not going to send you into a place of fear, because if we see it as a threat, we automatically go into that fight, flight, fright, and we want to try to avoid that one as much as possible. And then to kind of get out of survivor mode. I think especially during these periods of time when we've been in heavy stress, some days just feel relentless. We're just trying to get through the day. And that's not exactly a thriver. We're not trying to exist. We're trying to live. So some things you can do in terms of looking at, be really conscious about catastrophizing. Again, that may show up in your language of everything always falls apart, or I can never make this work, or everyone seems like they're against me. things like that, right? Or the world is falling apart. If you read the news, you'll probably fall into that one pretty easily. So, be conscious about catastrophizing. And then one of my new favorite questions is, watch what you're doing and what you're thinking. And ask yourself, is this thought or is this action helping me or harming me? Is this thought or action helping me or harming me? And if it's harming you, stop. Make a shift. Change it. But you will notice that if you're constantly feeling sorry for yourself, or you're placing blame, or you're staying in places of angry, or you're having, angry conversations in your bathroom with yourself, then it's probably not helping you. You might be ruminating over something that needs a more resourceful solution. So be conscious about that. And also something called benefit finding in the psychological world. Some would call it gratitude. I think it's a combination. So it's not just looking at what you're grateful for, but it's looking at the situation you're in and really looking at what the benefits are. Finding the silver linings. Even in this period of quarantine or all of the last few months, has been extraordinarily difficult for so many people. And yet, it's also, there have been a few things. Maybe you've gotten to spend more time with your family. Maybe you have spent less time in traffic. Maybe you've found things that you love to do that you didn't do, and now you are. Or maybe you realized, you know what, I just didn't like the way things were going and I want to make a change. So find the benefits. And then, of course, lastly, because I couldn't finish a Thriver mindset without exercise. Or better yet, Moticize. Combine that mindset and exercise. But exercise is such a powerful place of changing the brain, of reducing your stress, of making you more creative, more solution-oriented. It will help you make better decisions. And it also gives you all those good endorphins and feel-good serotonin and dopamine, and releases in your muscles something called the hope molecule that all in its entirety help you come up with solutions and make you feel much healthier, happier, more energetic, and more hopeful. And so all of those are really powerful ways in which you can shift out of those more negative mindsets into a Thriver mindset. So I would love to know, where are you sitting now? What mindset are you in? And what might you do to get out of it? So post that. And in the comment box, I'd love to hear from you. Or if you have any other questions about it, let me know. In the meantime, go out, thrive, and shine.